Well, Andrew Korybko is a Moscow-based political analyst and also an expert council member with the Institute of Strategic Studies and Predictions at the People's Friendship University of Russia. He joins us now live from Moscow. Welcome to TRT World. Tell us, what do you think Russia will continue to do while Ukraine waits for its tanks, which are set to arrive at the end of March?
I believe that we're going to see more progress on the front in Donbass. We know this for a fact because Russia has made gains around Soledar and around the town that Ukraine describes as Bakhmut, but Russia calls Artyomovsk. Also, there has been some movement along the southern front in Zaporozhye, but it's unclear how serious Russia's intentions there are. Having said that, Russia has recently established a pattern over the past few months of airstrikes against military relevant infrastructure. So all told, I do believe that Russia will continue with its airstrikes against military relevant infrastructure, will continue pressing around Artyomovsk, aka Bakhmut, and might also continue moving along the Zaporozhye front. There are rumors of a possible movement from Belarus, but it's very unclear whether or not that will happen, and if so, how much progress they would make, because Ukraine is reportedly heavily defending that front. So I do expect more kinetic action. I believe the conflict will get much worse before it gets better, and I do not see any respite in the coming future.
And do you think that the Kremlin was expecting this level of support from the West to Ukraine?
I do think it was a scenario that the Kremlin very seriously countenanced. But about that, while it is indeed an escalation, indisputably, I don't think the significance should be exaggerated either. CNN recently had a piece on their front page, actually today, about why this tank move might not be a game changer. And I share their views. To summarize, it's going to take some time to dispatch these tanks. Secondly, it's going to take time to train the Ukrainians. And third, there are very complicated logistical supply lines involved with the Abrams and other types of tanks. So having said that, since it's going to take some time for them to actually see battle, at least that's what most people expect.
Sorry to interrupt, Andrew, do you think Russia sees it as a game changer, the delivery of the Leopard tanks and the Abrams tanks?
I don't believe they see it as a military
just to be clear, no, you don't think Russia sees it as a game changer, just for clarity to our viewers?
Yes, that's correct. I do not believe they see it as a game changer. Politically, however, it does represent a new a crossing of the psychological threshold, whereby more lethal equipment is being sent by the West collectively. So it is important in terms of being a political game changer. But militarily, I very highly doubt that it will be the game changer that some in the West are spinning it as. But nevertheless, as I said, it is an escalation, but it remains to be seen exactly how serious. As they always say, not to sound cliche, but every weapon must be tested on the battlefield. And these tanks will indeed be tested. And I do believe Russia will prepare accordingly. In fact, considering the fact that this has been talked about for quite a while, it would be inconceivable that the Kremlin did not at least expect this scenario in any sense. So I do believe they have planned properly, and it remains to be seen exactly how and what effect that will have on the front. But again, Andrew, I do not expect any serious effect.
Sorry to interrupt again. You know, we are closer now to that 1-year mark. You're in Moscow. How much support does this special military operation, as it's called by the Kremlin, still have in Moscow, in the rest of Russia?
Okay, I can only speak from my personal perspective here in Moscow. It does seem that people actually support it even more now than they did when the special military operation first began. And to concisely explain why, the special military operation caught many people off guard. The reason being that Russia did not prepare in terms of the information front. For as far as we knew, up until the eve of President Putin's decision to intervene in Ukraine, Russians and the world at large was not aware of how seriously Russia regarded the threat of NATO's clandestine expansion in Ukraine as being to the integrity of its national security red lines. Granted, subsequently after the fact, Russian diplomats and officials and media folks ended up explaining how serious that threat was. But at the very beginning, people were caught off guard because nobody really expected such a large-scale special operation. But since we have already gone over 11 months into the conflict, and we see that the West has collectively united against Russia, and many Western officials are being very aggressive with their rhetoric and saber rattling, and even talking about Russia's balkanization, that in turn actually increased the amount of support that the special operation has, because now—
Andrew, just very, very quickly, do you still call it in Russia a special military operation? Yes or no?
Yes, it is still officially referred to as a special military operation for the time being, and I do believe that is the right way to characterize it because Russia has yet to go all out as one would expect in a so-called war. But having said that, the terminology and the actual ways in which Russia conducts this campaign might eventually change depending upon the escalation from the Ukrainian, aka NATO side.
Andrew, fantastic to get the perspective there from Moscow. Thank you very much indeed. Andrew Korybko, who is a Moscow-based political analyst. Thank you so much.